We can't just invite a bunch of people into a dark theater, watch some movies, and leave. It's like, what? No, whoa, 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 whoa. We're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Every moment of this needs to feel, smell, touch, taste New Orleans.
All right, y'all. You know, New Orleans has always been a city that tells stories, like through music, food, art, and of course, film. Our next guest is helping bring out that together in a really big way. Dodd Loomis is the new executive director of the New Orleans Film Society. That's the organization behind the New Orleans Film Festival and the New Orleans French Film Festival, and so many programs that connect filmmakers and audiences across the city. And fittingly, he's a New Orleans native who grew up and surrounded by the culture he now helps to celebrate. And now we get to spend 5 minutes with Dodd Loomis. Dodd, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So great to see you, and I love your family and how active y'all are. I follow you on Instagram, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
No, terrific. You're a native, as I just said, and you've talked about growing up surrounded by the artists in the community. What is it about the city that first pulled you toward storytelling and particularly the Film Society?
Well, I mean, like you said, I'm originally from here, and it's like you can take the boy out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the boy. So I don't pass the real test. I can't say I'm from here. I have to say I was born here because I didn't stay all the way through high school. I left when I was 14. So even though I'm sixth generation New Orleanian, I'm not from New Orleans. I love this place, but I'm sorry, that's obnoxious. Anyway, I left when I was 14, and I was gone for 25 years.
Right.
And traveled the world and worked kind of half and half between film and live events. And I've always, in that time, just had such a passion for the city. I love this place through and through. So always trying to find any excuse I can to come back. Mardi Gras, Easter, Thanksgiving, Jazz Fest, like we all do over the years. But then just trying to find that opportunity to move home and to make it permanent, Yeah. And so what brought me back was a live events production kind of executive producer gig working here in town. And that was when it kind of scaled up, and started working on large halftime shows and big sporting events and this kind of thing. And then downsized to make sure I could get a second kid and tone things down a little bit with the wife, not overload. So I became a professor at Tulane for 4 years. And then once we got that kid, everything's good, clean bill of health, then I can get back in the mix again. So I'm now the executive director of the New Orleans Film Society. I was on the board for 2 years, and it is just such an interesting combination of two of my passions, which is film. Well, I guess really three passions: film, live events, and the city of New Orleans. And so I just wanted to be a part of it and just help as a board member to help this, nonprofit arts organization, help it thrive. And then after 2 years, just by coincidence, the board asked me to become the ED, and here I am.
It's good fortune for the board.
Yeah, thank you.
So the New Orleans Film Society, for those that are not familiar with it, really is a year-round organization. Talk about the programming and how it has an impact on the city.
Yeah, that's right. So the New Orleans Film Society has two major functions. One is education and the other is exhibition. So on the education side, that's not very public facing because it's very much about, we have different tracks. We have a producer's track, we have a director's track, and then we have kind of a finance track where we're working with not just up-and-coming directors or up-and-coming producers, but they've directed 4, 5, 6 shorts. Maybe they even have a feature under their belt. They're really about to bust through. Right. We have less than a 2% acceptance rate for those programs, for all three of those programs. Same with the director, same with the producers. And then the financing program is really about cultivating a cohort. So usually it's around 3 artists who are all focused on the same film, usually screenwriter, director, and a producer. Usually that kind of constitutes the cohort. And, these movies can't get made without money. So we work with them and train them and help make introductions to put together pitches and find money.
And that's unique to the Film Society.
Yeah, very much. I don't know other programs that have. I mean, I'm not saying other festivals don't have it, but I'm not familiar with that myself. And then of course and then back to the kind of live events component. I always want to do both. I want to be able to work with artists and work on the inside of the industry, but then find the public facing experience there that's consumable by everybody and entertaining and exciting. So what we end up doing is taking this finance one I'm referring to is called South Pitch. Yeah. And it's an absolute fan favorite because we've turned it into Shark Tank for filmmakers. So they work for 6 months. We partner them with all these excellent producers in the field and line producers and screenwriters and even graphic designers to help them figure out their pitches. We pair them up with acting coaches and improv people and all sorts of stuff so they feel confident on stage and they know how to pitch their story. And then it all culminates to South Pitch. We have South Pitch narrative and South Pitch documentary, where we pack out each one 350 seats and 350 seats. It's kind of standing room only. And then we have this big panel of all these incredible industry professionals from A24, Netflix, Mubi, you name it. And these are our not really our students, like our class, our cohort gets up and then they pitch one by one in front of 350, live studio, audience members. And it's just full of energy and it's super exciting. So like, to me, that's a perfect kind of combination of got industry meets public. Yeah. But that's a bit about the education side. Then there's the exhibition side, which is really all public facing. What we're most known for is the New Orleans Film Festival. We just had the 36th annual New Orleans Film Festival, Oscar qualifying. Within the industry, we've won so many elite awards that mean something within the film world. Of best film festivals, best kind of user experience as a filmmaker, best audience experience. So we really try to lean into, something I say to the staff all the time is we are not the Cincinnati Film Festival. We are not the Houston Film Festival. We're the New Orleans Film Festival. So we need to lean into everything that's authentically New Orleans. And this is where this kind of whole live events component comes in. We can't just invite a bunch of people into a dark theater, watch some movies and leave. It's like, what? No, whoa. We're in New Orleans. Yeah. Every moment of this needs to feel, smell, touch, taste New Orleans and have it be authentic,
You've said that New Orleans is not just about what's on the screen. It's everything else that goes along with it, the food, the music, the culture.
Yes.
I mean, it just blends it all in together.
That's something I'm really passionate about in everything that we touch. It shows up in all of this other programming that you're talking about on the exhibition side. Another film festival that we produce. The New Orleans Film Society produces each of these events, right? And one of the festivals that we produce is the French Film Festival, which the 29th French Film Festival opens up this coming Thursday. And we also have another program called NOFS 365, New Orleans Film Society, 365 days a year. And they can be anything. But again, the idea is that we never just invite a bunch of people to show up into a theater to watch a movie and leave. That's not enough. Go to the AMC for that. They're going to charge you $16. I was about to say we charge you $18, but we don't. I mean, our last event, we charged $8. We're applying for grants, But we want it. You're going to meet people, meet filmmakers, have interesting conversations. Maybe you participate in a workshop. Maybe it culminates in some sort of interesting panel. Coming up, we have dances and we have all sorts of stuff I guess we'll get into as we dive into the French Film Festival.
Yeah. Why should someone join the Film Society?
I think folks should join the Film Society because I'll say that something that we offer to the city of New Orleans is contrary to a lot of what the kind of stereotypical brand of New Orleans is. Something I say is, not everybody wants to get hammered on Bourbon Street. Not everybody wants to sweat for days on end out at the racetrack. It's not for everybody. So I think for a local, there is more esoteric and interesting ways to engage in the culture of the city and in the community. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't throw a big party and throw down, but the breadth of offerings that we have throughout the year is really fantastic, I think. And because we're actively applying for grants that we are very successfully getting, that help subsidize and keep all of these various cultures and art forms alive. That means that all of the costs are defrayed to a certain degree, right? And held by incredible organizations like the Warhol Foundation. I mean, that is a big deal to get that grant. Everybody wants that grant, but we're getting that grant. And it's because we kind of have these bona fides of almost 4 decades
Right.
of receipts of Oscar
track
qualifying
history.
track record. Exactly. So I guess what I'm getting at is that for your average New Orleanian or kind of community member, you pay this small subsidized fee to be able to open up a full annual calendar of events that could be as esoteric as a Jean Cocteau lecture. Because we're flying in, the preeminent scholar on Jean Cocteau. That's pretty esoteric and interesting, being, hosted by the French consulate, or a big backyard Zydeco bash with 3 Zydeco bands and a party and all coupled with obviously Jean Cocteau films and with in this case a documentary about the history of Zydeco.
Right. I mean, this is New Orleans, so it's making it that much more special. Like you said, it's just not a regular films festival or film society for that matter. So New Orleans has become a huge production center for film. I know we've had our rough patches over the last couple of years, but you've got your finger on the pulse. How does the Film Society help promote New Orleans as a production center with all these companies coming in to do films here now?
Yeah, so on the face, on our mission, we're not a lobbying organization. We have opinions, and we're talking to everybody
Right.
who is in Baton Rouge and is working to, we are huge proponents for the tax credits, and we want to do everything we can to help support it. But to be clear, there's other like Film Louisiana is
Sure.
very actively organizing and trying to, they're flying to Los Angeles and lobbying producers to get those productions to come in. And so then we invite Film Louisiana to absolutely everything. Come to everything. You're a VIP. We want to keep those close connections because we are adjacent. We're kind of similar, other sides of the same coin kind of thing. And then I would say that with the industries that are, or rather the films that are here shooting, we try to reach out to all of them and just get them involved in the community so they don't ever feel like tourists, like they're coming in, they're filming,
Right.
and then they have to leave, that they are welcome here, they're invited. And then I would say then a third piece is within the particularly the New Orleans Film Festival. This is a coveted festival. It is, we received 4,000 submissions for 131 slots.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so it's less than a 2% acceptance rate by a lot. And we are actively reaching out to industry to come in to see these filmmakers on the ground level. And that's something that we definitely have room to grow.
Right.
But what my philosophy is, instead of spending 100% of our time trying to get, I don't know, agents from William Morris or whatever it is to fly in to come see the show, instead, or the festival, it's instead to lean in to us being a destination film festival. Instead of the distribution film festival or the market film festival, to say, hey, just the low-hanging fruit is the destination film festival. It's New Orleans. Everybody on earth knows New Orleans. Everybody's itching for an excuse to come to New Orleans. So the first thing we need to do is lean into that, and then with that comes good press. It comes knowledge around it. The filmmakers leave and go, holy smokes, I had the best time there. That was amazing. And I believe that if you generate that type of positive experience, inevitably you all of a sudden you've got major players who are going, you know what, this is the excuse I needed to get to New Orleans, and that's all we need. You do that once, and then all of a sudden it can start to grow and build on itself, and then you become the market festival, which can then become the distribution festival.
And then I think it feeds into the system of being aware that New Orleans would be a great place to shoot a film.
100%.
You've got a welcoming community. You've got a film society that's very successful. Again, the awareness factor, I think, is huge, so we can beat out those other communities that are offering incentives and other things to have that.
And actually,
film
Mark,
shot
to that point, I guess that's really kind of the fourth piece of the puzzle, is that in the film festival, in both the New Orleans Film Festival and the French Film Festival, we have a conference. The French Film Festival, first ever this year. It's just about to happen. Very excited about that. For the New Orleans Film Festival, NOF, we've been having a conference for 3 decades, and the conference is huge. It's 200 hours of conference content. It's massive. And to your point about productions coming in to shoot here, that this is a welcoming place. Yes, welcoming. We've got hospitality in our bones and culture coming out of our ears, but also expertise. Because, okay, cool, you go someplace that's fun, but if there are no gaffers and a best boy doesn't know what that means or how to do it, then you're boned, right? So you have to have the expertise. And Louisiana at large absolutely has the expertise. So within the conference, we showcase so much of that talent. We build these panels and workshops, and it's such a showcase of the skill and talent that lives right here 365 days.
That's fantastic. So you're planning the next several years. Your leadership is so important. I want to talk briefly about the board as well that you've helped create. What's your plan for the next 3 to 5 years? What do you see happening?
Well, I alluded to it a bit with this idea of the growth of not just understanding, leaning into, and putting our resources and focus behind embracing being a destination film festival. That's where we are right now. I would argue that was kind of, look, as someone who was on the board for years, if I'm pointing fingers at anybody, it's at myself, that I just don't think that's something that we did very well. I think it was a bit too industry. I think in a town as small as New Orleans, in a town that is built on community and partnerships, it's just kind of blows my mind. After 36 years, this organization could, particularly an arts nonprofit, could be as siloed as it was. And so the first thing is just take a hammer and just knock all that stuff off, and open up and lean into what we do best. And so I was the intern for 6 months, and then I've been the ED starting in January. So it's been like 2 months, right? And in that time, I can't even tell you how many times a week. I don't know. 15, 20 times a week, I'm introducing myself to like-minded organizations and saying, hey, we're this organization, never heard of you. It doesn't surprise me. We've been here for 36 years, Now, in the industry, I think tons of people know us, right? But that's what I'm trying to shift here, is to say, hey, this is a festival for everybody, not just all the New Orleanians, all across the South. Everybody travel in from wherever, Bolivia, come on in. And we have to open it up in that way. And to me, the most effective way to do that is partnership. Not only does it achieve that, but it also brings our mission to life. And if we work with each of the organizations that we approach, we actually amplify their mission. And it's the idea of amplifying culture, of using various art forms. We're an art organization. Our medium is film. Okay, what's your medium? And let's lean into that. Okay, what do you want from me? We're not talking about money. We're talking about building a beautiful event that helps amplify what y'all care about. Yeah. And through doing that, we end up consistently creating good events. So in the last, call it 6 months since we started NOFS 365, we've had none of these events were on the calendar. They didn't exist, and they certainly weren't in the budget. So the staff is going, what are you doing? We have no money for any of this. This is crazy. And I was like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And we've had thousands and thousands of patrons come through these events, none of which was, expected. It wasn't on the calendar. It wasn't in the budget. and it's all paid for itself. It's all taken care of. Our mission has been amplified by serving the community. Each of these organizations we've partnered with, every time it's like, all right, we'll take a gamble. What's it like? Let's see what it's like working with the Film Society. And I'm telling you, 10 out of 10 times, the director of programming finds me at the end and says, please tell me this isn't just a one-off. Tell me this is a year-round partnership. We say, yeah, let's go.
So nonprofits rely on good boards.
Yeah.
And I think you've got, I will say right now, I just became a member, so I'm not talking about myself, but you've got a fantastic board of experts who truly believe in not only the product and the craft, but also New Orleans. Just briefly talk about
100%
your team that you have there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really lucky to have this board. They're workers. They're passionate. They're excited, and there's such a breadth of experience, and all the colors of the rainbow, ages, everybody. We've got some transplants, some multi-generational New Orleanian. We've got so many different, and everyone brings something very special. Somebody's a finance guy, and they say, "Hey, man, I love the events. Just give me the paperwork. I'll dive into it. I'll just keep the back end clean." Say, "Thank you so much." You got a strong lawyer saying, "I don't know, don't talk to me about movies, but I can." And then some people have been nominated for multiple Oscars and know all the ins and outs of the film industry. But at the end of the day, everyone loves New Orleans, and I think that is really the binding agent.
There's so much passion around that table.
And so that way it really, I think, kind of curbs any sort of goofy ego, which I think you can get on a lot of boards, is that there's just such a shared love of this city.
Yeah.
And then I think everyone understands that we have this megaphone, and we have this platform, and we have this tool to help New Orleans thrive, and everyone just leans into that.
Fantastic. Looking forward to the festival this fall as well. So Dodd, this weekend we've got the New Orleans French Film Festival. I mean, this is it. So tell us what people can expect.
What can they expect? Some of the classics, some of the traditions will still be alive. We're at the Britannia. We love the Britannia, but then there's also a lot of new stuff that's coming up. One thing is that we have extended the length of the film festival. So we open tomorrow, Thursday, March 19th. And we'll be screening a beautiful film called Colors of Time, and it jumps eras in France, and so it's a period piece, and it's modern, and it's a big fan favorite. It's going to be great. But we also have had a long partnership with the Columns. So we bring in the Marie Antoinettes, we bring in all of these fabulous French musicians. So we'll have music on the front porch in Champagne, and then you go to the film. And so every single night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we have a party every single day, every night, because we're in New Orleans. And then we also have the films, and we then have a conference, which is one of the first times we've ever... This is the first time we've ever had a conference affiliated with the French Film Festival. That will be on Tuesday, March 24th. It is hosted by the French Consulate, and we are collaborating with the Villa Albertine, which are academic French fellows. Mm-hmm. They have applied for these incredible grants through the French government, and they are here in New Orleans studying and training in their craft. And so we approached the French consulate and said, is there a partnership here? Could we build some sort of public showcase where we get to see what type of work these artists are doing, many of them working in the cinema arts? Wow. So we've built a thoughtful conference around them. We also have launched the first ever Real Futures for the French Film Festival, REEL. This is our initiative where we're bringing the cinema industry, film industry, into a collegiate setting. So we're partnering with Xavier, Dillard, and Loyola, and we have 8 hours of programming built where we're doing all sorts of interesting panels on how to start a film, how to start your own LLC, artist equity, all sorts of interesting stuff. And then of course the films are gorgeous. We have we have a guest country. First time we've ever had a guest country, Switzerland. We've partnered with the Swiss consulate. Actually, that's why I was 3 minutes late today. I was just getting off the phone with them. They wanted to go through the run of show. We're building a beautiful wine tasting for them, a tasting through the Alps by altitude, where you get to,
amazing.
we're doing a cheese tasting, of course. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The idea is, again, that every film is simply a launching pad
Right.
for a tactile, immersive, sensory experience. And we have 20 films, so that's why we have so many parties and so many workshops and so many lectures.
Are you ready to get some rest after that?
Never! I'm moving right into the next show.
This is great. Dodd Loomis, Executive Director of the New Orleans Film Society. Where can people find information about?
So our website, of course, the New Orleans Film Society.org. Everything is there. And then also all of our social channels. We're Facebook and Instagram primarily. But kind of any sort of business-related things we put on LinkedIn, little Twitter here and there, but primarily Instagram and Facebook. We're very consistent. And also, we have a weekly newsletter that we really do spend a lot of time working on. There's very good writing in it. I mean, I'm writing articles.
You can subscribe on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all free. Just pop in your email address, and it tells you what our calendar is moving forward. Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, I'll see you at the film festival this weekend.
Can't wait.
Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. Please follow us. We've got new shows each and every week. And a very, very special thanks to all of our sponsors who are making this possible. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.